Hi, good morning all. This is Natarajan, software engineer in India. Today we are going to talk about the jQuery. First, in this entire tutorial, we are only learn about the basics of jQuery. As usual, whenever you are learning the new technology or new application, don't consider the technologies. Consider the any other whatever it is. You are going to learn new things means then definitely you will get the some questions. What is that? Why it is needed? When we have to use that, how we have to use that. Yeah, like the way in our jQuery also we are going to get those many questions through the tutorials. I hope you will get the answers for them. Yeah, okay. Next I will go with the like what I mean, what is jQuery, why it is needed, how it is works, how to use that. Before that, consider the web application. In this world nowadays, the entire world is everything play only based on the web application. Compare than Windows application, the web application get the more and more projects and more offers on that. So every web application, they are nowadays expecting the cosmetic changes also, the multiple events. If the user expecting this, if we are doing that, it how to happen, like the way previously in consider the legacy application, the page only have the only 2 to 3 pages. If the user click, it have to take the time to load entire page. Also there is a no such kind of, I mean, the consider the cosmetic, the background, everything in legacy application have the static one. But nowadays, the if you get the any sample application, that simple application also have the uh, lots of luxury words. Yeah, how it has happened, how we are improved on that. Yeah, everything happen nowadays based on the only the client side application. Okay, what is that client application? That is our next question, I know. Yeah, I hope if you are not the beginner, then you definitely know about the client script and Java, I mean the server script. If you are not, yeah, no problem. I will say that if you are, take an example of you are running the Google Chrome website in your browser. Okay, you are opening the Google website in Chrome. That time you are given some request to the server will render the process to in client. I mean here you are the client, I mean your browser is the client, where the particular website is hosted, that is the server. So which are the languages or scripting only work in the browser, that is called client scripting. What are the languages or scripting happen in the I mean hosted server side, that is called server scripting. So I hope you are clear. If the particular scripting only working in the end user browser, that is called client script. If it is not, that is called server script. Okay, next, what is JavaScript? I earlier told jQuery is a client-side scripting used to play around the web pages for cosmetic and logical purpose. What is the cosmetic and logical purpose? For example, jQuery not only the play of cosmetics. For example, cosmetic in the sense, the maybe if you want to change background color or you want to render the image dynamically, so all the dynamic changes and static changes you can do using the jQuery. Logical purpose in the sense, for example, if the user you have two text box, I mean username and password, maybe the password validation happen only in the server side, but before that validation you maybe some format will be there. Consider the email. If the email should have at symbol and with ending with the domain name, so you can validate that syntax is correct or not in client side. There is no need of checking those conditions in server side, because you know if your particular format it should be, you know the format, then you can handle it in the client side itself. Okay, so that is the logical purpose. I mean logically, if the user given this value, then only you have to render something, that is the logical. if the user given the if it is the particular text box is phone number, then user definitely have to give the number itself. There user can't give the I mean alphabetical. So those validations, those and all is the logical purpose things. Okay. JQuery is developed using the JavaScript framework. Yeah, nowadays multiple script, the origin is JavaScript. JavaScript developed like the client side application during the previous lifespan. After that, based on the scans, they have developed so many scripting languages. The JQuery is one among that. Okay, like I explained client script, that what I mentioned here, accessing or processing web page in end user level, I mean the browser level, that is called client side scripting. Okay, how web page render? We know what is client side, what is server side. So how the web page render? Consider this is a client, this is a server. Now we given the request and we are getting the response. That is what happened in current environment, I mean current period. Okay, what is our request? Consider the previous example. You are in your browser, you are typing Chrome. For example, wait, I will open my Chrome. I mean I'm browser, not only the Chrome. What are the browsers? All browsers are same only. I am given one URL. I mean this URL is my request. Based on this URL, it render the page, that is response. How it has happened? Yeah, like the way client end user browser is client, the request is server given the request, that is server access request, that is the www.google.com, that is the my DNS domain name, that is the request. The response, the where the Chrome, I mean the Google hosted, from that server we are getting the response as HTML, whatever it may be. For that application may be developed in PHP or ASP.NET, whatever it is, the final output only as in the format of HTML, because the browser knows only the HTML. So you can written any language, you can develop the application in any language, but the final output should be in HTML format. Then only the user able to, I mean the browser able to render that page. So all those, for example, you are doing the application in ASP.NET, that ASP.NET having the multiple controls, for example ASPX server side controls, those controls has been converted into HTML in that server itself. I mean the ASP.NET itself having the render engine to convert the server side controls to client side controls, so that the final response from the server is only the HTML. So the client given the request, the server do the processing. Based on that process, he return the response to the client, the final the browser rendering the page. This what the web page render in browser. Okay, the browser rendering life cycle, we got the HTML response. After that, what is happening in browser, how it's rendering? Yeah, it's sending the request, like previous slide we have seen, right? Sending the request, receiving the response as HTML format. The browser engine converted HTML to HTML DOM. Yeah, definitely you will get the doubt here, what is HTML DOM? Yeah, I will explain in next. Finally, the DOM handled by the browser render engine as and final output will be the render page. We are getting that HTML response, that HTML response converted to HTML DOM, that DOM shown as a web page in browser. This was the total web page we are rendering in browser. Okay, what is DOM? Like how we have described others, like the way DOM is a document object model. Yeah, definitely the DOM is an object model. What is the purpose of that? Yeah, HTML response should be in the simple, I mean the like simple format. So the browser have the engine to convert that simple format elements. I mean it have the only the HTML elements. For example, you know the HTML elements, div, input type, text box type, like the way it have the multiple HTML elements, that all HTML elements converted into object, because in our current world everything considered as a object. Based on that object only we are playing in the current situation. So the way the HTML response converted into object, that object handled by that object is called the DOM. That DOM only represent the web page in browser. Okay, next, definitely you will get the doubt here. Okay, whatever it is, DOM is DOM, why we have to learn now? Yes, why we have to know about the DOM here? Because the jQuery only play with the DOM object. What you are saying? DOM, jQuery only playing with DOM? Yes, definitely, because the browser converted the HTML response to HTML DOM. That the DOM only is the source for jQuery, because based on that object only the jQuery playing all those things. For example, I have mentioned what are the process we are handling using the jQuery, all happen only with the DOM. Example, render the color to the element. Consider you have created one div. In the div you have to bind the color. That means you have to play around that only happen in the DOM. Yeah, definitely this theoretical you will not get that much level of knowledge. I am going to do the practical things. Before that I will explain that. So you have only one thing here, you have to listen, jQuery only play with the DOM object. Okay, next, what are the benefit of jQuery? Whatever it is, you have to consider two things. What is the pros and cons? Consider here the benefits of jQuery. We can make the cosmetic changes dynamically. Before, like previously I told, that legacy application have only the, for example, maybe the based on CSS they have binded some colors, but that was in static. So the as a end user point of view, that may be that much effect on his mind. Nowadays everything is converted as dynamic, so we that the cosmetic make the some looking better than legacy. Yeah, so we that jQuery make the cosmetic changes. Okay, next, we can bind the events in client side itself. Previously we everything we have binded the server side events. Even for example the events, in the sense I will explain the events later. Before that, if the user click the button, it hit the server. The user change the value, it hit the server. If the user modify something, it hit the server. Previously all the events happen only in the server side, not the client side. Through the jQuery we are achieved that. Okay, the performance wise very effective. Yeah, I mentioned previously everything happened through the the server script. For example, if you are changing something, that time the server got hited and it give the response, and again it have binded. So there will be a, for single change it happened the two-way request and response binding. So they take the time. Nowadays the all the changes happen only in the browser itself. So there it definitely it have the performance performance is good. Okay, problems in, okay, what is the problem of jQuery? Yeah, it will not persist the changes. For example, consider you have a one form application in web page. You are entering some values. If again if you are refresh that page, that will not persist in jQuery. The jQuery will not persist the changes when the page get refreshed. The second thing, developer point of view, debugging is little bit complex. Yeah, definitely, because in jQuery we may be written 1000 lines of code. If you are getting an error, you can easily find out where it was. Nowadays we got the tool and opportunities to debug that, but even though it is little bit complex compared than other languages, the server languages. Yeah, security issue, that thing, because all the process happen only in the client environment, the browser itself. So the security way it has some issues still. Okay, then everything we have seen in theoretical manner. Now I am going to in practical manner. Before that, I have to complete one more slide, how to use the jQuery. Yeah, I explained what are the benefits of jQuery, what are the cons of jQuery. Okay, how we have to use that, how it helped to us. For that, you have to refer the one source file. I mean, I already told jQuery is used the JavaScript framework. So the developers already made the predefined functions, methods based on the JavaScript. So we have to refer the base source file. Then only we can able to access the uh, jQuery events and methods and all those things. So we have to refer that reference file into our application. How we can able to refer? There will be two things. Two way we can achieve that. One is using the CDM source. I hope some of them know about CDM. Maybe some of them not aware of that. So I will explain that. There will be one centralized server will be there to handling all those source. For example, through that the CDM is one of the source. In that source already jQuery files has been launched. So you can give the web reference for accessing the jQuery source. Another one way is local source. You have to download the jQuery source file and you can use that. So once you have referred that page, then you can use the jQuery events and methods. This is a simple thing, two-step process. First you have to refer that, then you can achieve the jQuery process. Okay, now the time to move on practical session. I hope all the theoretical sessions make you think jQuery is complex. No, not like that. If we are go with practical, you will get some more idea. Yeah, for jQuery in the sense, you can go with any editor. I mean any IDE you can use for using the jQuery. Right now, maybe your IDE is Visual Studio or maybe the Eclipse or even Notepad also you can do that. Right now, I am using the Visual Studio. I have created the one simple application with the sample HTML page. It has only the HTML tag and body tag. I have binded like word called test. Now I am running my application in Chrome browser. Here, as per our expectation, it displayed test. Okay, we have done that. Why we have to use jQuery here? Yeah, I am expecting I have to bind the two text. I am expecting during that of page ready, I have to do some process. Okay, so that I need the some dynamical language, then only I can able to achieve that. Okay, we can go with that. Before that, I will explain the DOM. Previously I explained in theoretical, right? Now I am going to explain it in practical. Yeah, I hope you maybe know about the developer tool. Otherwise my next session will explain about the this developer tool. Here you can able to inspect, you can able to see the elements. Yeah, check here. Our code have this much of elements. This all elements here consider a converter to DOM. The head, body, the test word all are converted as a DOM element. Okay, now we can you can able to differentiate what is the DOM and the HTML response. Once you have go with jQuery, then you can able to find out that. For example, now I am going to use the jQuery using our local source method. Yeah, here I have our jQuery source file. I am going to refer it. You can refer anywhere. The HTML tag or body or somewhere. That is not an issue. So I have referred. The jQuery have a multiple versions. Right now I am going with 1.9.1 minimized version. The minimized on I will explain next video about this minimized JS. There will be some use of that. Okay, I have referred that. What is the purpose? Right now I am going to bind the tag for script tag. Here I have to mention the type text.javascript. What is the purpose of this? The browser render this HTML elements and convert to DOM. That time, if you are mentioned this is a script tag and this is type of JavaScript, then browser browser render engine will understand this is a JavaScript element. So there is no need to display in UA. So I have rendered it. Okay. Now I am going to bind the jQuery event so that I will get some alert. Don't think about this syntax right now. I will explain you later. Right now I made on one jQuery event that is called document.ready. I will explain these events later. I will give the samples now. I am making one alert using the document get ready. Okay. After document.ready only I am going to get this alert. Okay. Now I am going to refresh my page. As per our expectation, I got an alert box that's saying document get ready. Okay. Now my purpose is, we are going to do one process. We are going to, here I have created the test. I have binded test here. Now our purpose is we have to bind the CSS in dynamically. For example, the CSS in the sense we have to bind the background color for that element. This is a CSS. This is one of the predefined method. I will explain that. Before that, you have to understand what is this, why we need the JavaScript. That's why I am doing this. Now I am going to do this test with, the background color should make it as red. Okay, you can simply refresh this, you will get it. What's an issue? Why we are not get it? We can debug here itself. Background color, we need, maybe we did some one second, we will check it. I will explain what I am doing. Don't consider those things because you maybe get some complex feeling if you are take it as. Now we got it. That is because of maybe I did some spell mistake on there. That's why we are not getting that. Okay, you got it right. I hope you understand that. Okay, so maybe you can like the way you can do any dynamic process in DOM element itself. If you are check here what is DOM, here you can able to find out div have the inline function, inline CSS that is called background color red. I already told the jQuery only play with this DOM. So this DOM element have the CSS what we have binded using the jQuery. But if you are check the view source, here you cannot able to do that. Yes, this what we are doing. The server response should be like this, the plain. After that, the browser engine converted this HTML element to our DOM. So in the DOM only it have doing the play around those JavaScript process. So we can able to find out the changes in DOM, but we are not able to find out in view source, because the view source only display the server response HTML page, not the DOM process. It is not the DOM. This is only the DOM. Okay. Yeah, I hope you get some clear idea now the what is DOM, what is the HTML response, how the jQuery is played along that. Okay, then we can go to the next. Basics of JavaScript. The main things, there will be a lots of predefined methods, lots of logics you can do that in jQuery. Before that, as a beginner, you have to know about these steps. One is selector, events, methods, variable and data types, loops, conditional statement, functions, like how you are learning in other languages. Like the way here also there will be a list of syntax and those things. Before that, you have to you have to remember one thing: jQuery is case sensitive. That means the I mean where a is not a, the small a and capital E is different, not the same. Okay. Also, you can't change the syntax cases also, that should be similar to predefined cases. Okay. So two things we have to remember in working with jQuery. One is jQuery only play around with the DOM. Second thing, jQuery is case sensitive. Okay, then we can go to the next. What is selector? Yeah, I will explain it. Selector help to fetch the element from the DOM, which one have to play. Here, consider this example itself. I told we are going to change the background color of text. Okay. So here we are going to play around only in this particular element, not in the all elements. So I already point out that we have to change the background color of this text, this div content. Here, so we have to select this element. So for that selection, we are using the technique called using selectors. So jQuery give the technique called selector. Through that selector, we can able to select the particular element. So the name itself having the definition, the selector is help to select the elements. Okay, for example, I am going to change the background color. Right now we have the sample, right? Same that what I explained here. Okay, what is the selector type? There will be a multiple types to select the elements. Maybe that is ID selector, class selector, element selector, attribute selector, also the combinational selector. Okay, I will explain one by one. First we can go with ID selector. What is ID selector? Here, for example, I am having two divs, not only the two, maybe three divs. Here I have mentioned test1, test2, test3. We have three elements here. Div, all are same elements, I mean the div elements. Every elements have the values of test1, test2, test3. So I am saying we have to change the background color of only this test2. So what you have to do, you can give the attribute called ID. In your application, if you are given one ID, that should be the unique. I mean here you have given the test2 as, I mean div test2 content. Okay, you could not give the same ID to here. As per standard you can't give like this, because if you are go with id, that should be the unique. It will not if you are giving that id, it will not throw on any error, but uh, we can't achieve our purpose. So make the practice that id should be the unique. Right now I make an id div test2 content, so you have to give this id here. How you are going to give that? If you are go with id selector, then one thing you have to remember, you have to make the hash character here. The hash repression you are going to use the id selector. Okay, right now I have given dollar hash div test2 content. Here I am doing my process. Let's check in our browser what is going to happen. Yeah, as per our expectation, test2 only highlighted here. Okay, for example, as I told, if I make the id in two places, I mean test1 also have the same id, what will happen? Yeah, it's rendering the background color to the first element. How it will happen? Because if you are go with id selector, it will think we are going to change only one element. So like in DOM, it will search from step by step for the particular id. So in this section it will catch the particular id content, so it will render here, and it will jQuery will stop the searching of id element, because it already got the element here, so it won't search after that. Okay, I hope you clear on that. Okay, if you are given the unique id, then you can able to achieve what you are doing. That now you got it right. Okay, so two things here we have to in our memory. One is, if you are go with id selector, the selection have the hash character, then only the jQuery will understand this is id selector. Second thing, in element id should be unique. Okay, what is that next? Class. Using the class alone, you can access the access as a selector. How it happened? For example, here I am going to create one more attribute, that is called class. Here I am going to create given one name, JS content. Okay, I have given this JS content. Here I am going to use that. If you are go with class selector, you have to use the dot operator here. I already told id selector, if you are go with id selector, you have to use hash. Like the way, if you are go with class selector, you have to mention dot operator, then only the jQuery will understand you are using the class operator. Okay, right now I have used that, like what we discussed, right? This JS content binder in first element, so our output is same as per our expectation. So I already told id should be unique, but what about the class? Yeah, as you have a doubt, like the way you can use the class repeatedly. I mean, there is no need to there is no need to it should be the unique. You can use the multiple times. What happen if you are using this? I mean, the same JS content I have used in 3 places. What will happen if we are refresh this page? All the elements got affected. So I hope you understand the business of ours. If id, if you are doing multiple times, it won't affect, it will take the first elements, but if you are using the class element, it affect the entire area. Okay, the third thing is element selector. What is element selector? Okay, here instead of this class name and id, directly you can mention the element alone. For example, here I have mentioned div. So what it will happen, it will take the all entire page where the div has been located, all the div it will taken. You can refresh the page, then you will understand. Okay, Now all div has been affected. For example, I am changing this content instead of div to span. Now you will get some idea. The second thing is not affected because I am using the element selector. This so it checks the particular div elements. The first is div elements, the second is not the div element, so it is not affected here. Okay, so if we are go with element selector, so there is no need of mentioning the id or I mean the hash or dot or any other operator. Just you have to mention the element name, that is enough to do that. Okay. The next thing is attribute. What is that attribute selector? Yeah, I hope you know about the attribute. This id is one of the attribute, this class is one of the attribute. Like the way you can use the name. How we are going to achieve that? If you are go with this selector, yes, right now I am taken the attribute of class. Okay, that whichever the having the attribute of class, I have to affect this background color. So right now I am having this class attribute in two sections, so it is affecting in two areas. For example, I am given only that attribute name alone itself, it is affected. So if you are go with attribute, you have to mention like this, in square bracket you have to mention the attribute. I hope you understand that. Even you can specify this class attribute also here. Maybe you can assign some other name, test.js. Anyway, here we are not considering the attribute value, just we are taken the attribute name. So as per our expectation, it will affect three elements. So if you can also mention the attribute values, even if I have here I mention the attribute name, also you can able to mention attribute value also. So now our selection should be which are the elements having the class attribute, also that particular attribute having the value of JS content. So our as per expectation, it have to take only first two elements. So let me check here. Yeah, it's getting affected. Okay, I hope you understand that. The next element also you can combination of selector. For example, consider right now I am using attribute, so you can combination of element selector. This is div, I have mentioned this is element selector, this portion is attribute selector. Right now I am going to mingle element selector also the attribute selector. So I have mentioned like div class JS content. For our understanding, I am changing instead of here, I mean now these first two elements have the attribute of class, also have the same values as mentioned, but the only difference is first one only having the div element with these attribute values, the second one attribute is different what we mentioned with in JQuery. So as per our code instruction, it have to consider only the first element alone. I am going to refresh that. Yeah, as per expectation the browser get rendered. I hope you understand. Our condition of selector should be element with the element should be div, also it have the attribute of class, also it have the attribute of I mean value, class value of JS content. So only the first element has achieved that. So for example, you can change the element name. Now the element name or change. Now I am going to change the remove the class attribute. Now you can able to check that. No, it's not affecting. Now only it is having the div element also have the attribute of class, but the class value is different. Now you can able to check that. Now also it won't work. So this is the selector. Okay, for example, for this change you can able to mention multiple items using the comma separator. For example, here I am going to mention another one selector here. Give a minute, I am doing that. I hope you understand. Previously, this is one of the selector. After this comma separator, we are mentioning another one selector. This selector div mention is a combination selector of div element selector, also the attribute selector. This is another one selector called attribute selector. Okay, so here I am selecting the two elements. One is which one have the div, also having the class, also having the JS content class name. This is another one selector. This is selecting only which one have the class name, also the particular value. So instead of doing, I mean repeating this same statement to the next line, I am just make a comma to separate the multiple items. Okay, I hope you understand that. Okay, next thing, events. What is events? What is the events? What is the purpose of that? Yeah, event define answer of when. I hope this is the best description to describe about the event. When the particular operation have to happen, that's what event. Previously I told during this page load, I mean after document.ready, I have to get the alert. That is one of the event. In this document ready is one of the event. We are doing all this process in ready event. For example, alert, make an the same alert here. I told we have to display the alert box when the page getting loaded. Now we got the alert. For example, like the way I am going to create one button. I am saying during this button click you have to. Previously I told during the document ready we have to display the button. Like the way now my requirement is you can't show the alert in document ready. When the user click this button, then only you have to show the particular alert. That alert may be display the success message. Okay, now when you are going to process that, while the user clicking that, you have to show that. So this what I described here. Events define answer of when the particular operation have to happen. You can bind one action using the JQuery in two approach. I mean you can bind the events in two approach. One is using HTML element events using JQuery events. What is HTML events and what is JQuery events? I hope you know the HTML elements having some attributes. For example, on click you can able to find out here. On click alone you can make the function call. For example, here I am going to create one function. We will I will describe those syntax or function alone in later. Now just we are going to display that. That is enough. UCC ESS success. Now I am going to remove here because our requirement is not here. So I have created one method. I am going to call this method here itself. This is the HTML event. because the HTML elements itself providing some events, we are using that events. During that event occur, we are calling the JavaScript function. Okay, so let me check it's working or not. During my success click, I got that alert, so it's working fine. So as I mentioned here, using in this case there is no need to create even listener. I will explain the listener. Browser automatically create even listener. Yeah, for example, the HTML tag itself having the on click event. So during that DOM creation, the browser create the listener for this HTML element itself. For example, if you are using the on click event during the DOM binding, browser create the event listener for this on click. Okay, so while the particular event is happening, that a listener will consider the operation what we mentioned here. So during the DOM preparation itself, based on our event mentioned in element, the render engine will create the event listener for particular events. So there is no need to mention manually. Okay, what about the next? Using jQuery alone, you can create the event. What is that? During this is also one of the way using the jQuery event, but here we are not creating the event using the jQuery. Just we are creating the one method using method or function using the jQuery. That method we called in HTML event. Okay, there will be a difference. Yeah, okay. I will give the example to create the jQuery event here. For example, we are going to create the event for this button. Okay, so first we have to select the element. Okay, how you can able to select? Just we can select this element selector. Okay, now I have selected. How we are going to bind? Click. This is a one of the event. In click alone, you can mention like this. Every statement in jQuery end with semicolon. We have to mind out that. SUCCESS success. Let me check. Yeah, we got it. Here I have selected the element called input. I have binded the click event for that. In that click event I am doing this process. Okay, what will happen in this scenario? During the DOM element preparation, the render engine will not create the any event listener for this tag, because we are not mentioning the any events in HTML DOM element. So I mean HTML element. So the render engine will not create any events listener for this particular button. After this DOM preparation, here we are calling the click event using the JavaScript. So I mean the jQuery. So jQuery will create the listener for this element. So the listener will focus on when the user clicking triggering that event, it will do the process what we mentioned here. So in our previous example, the browser itself creating the listener for the HTML element, but in this example, the jQuery alone will create the listener for the particular. So we can go with some other example. Right now we are doing all this background color in document ready. Just my requirement, when the user click the button, then only we have to bind the red color. Now, so that in document load it should be in plain format. Now it is in plain format. When the user click the success button, it got affected because during this button click, the event got triggered. In that event we are doing like this. Okay, I hope you got some little bit idea about events. What are the events? Not only the key events, key event, key up event, key down event, click event, on blur event, on focus event. There will be a multiple event based on the particular controls. The events may be vary based on the controls, I mean the based on elements. You can't bind the click event for the on blur event for the text box, like div. The button have the some events, the text box have some events, so based on the elements the events may be vary. Okay, what about the next? Yeah, I hope this is enough for this tutorial. I can stop here. What are the things we are going to see in next video? In that next video you can learn methods, variable and data types, loops, conditional statement, functions. Okay, what are things we learned in this video? I going to do the summary. What is jQuery? What is the need of that? Pros and cons. What is DOM? How to use jQuery? Basic of jQuery. What is selector? Those all are the things we have learned. Okay, thanks for your support. I am going to end. This is an address from you have any queries you can mail me. Thank you.